Hey everyone, so I have had a lot of requests over the past while now for a voice tutorial. It's been like, Amy, how do you get your voice so high and stuff? So I'm going to try and cover it. I mean, I'm still suffering tonsillitis, but I've taken painkillers and stuff, so it shouldn't be killing my throat too much today. But, you know, I've been promising this for a while, so I might as well go ahead and try it. So, voice. Now, you need to understand, as somebody who is assigned male at birth, who is transitioning to feminize themselves, there's no easy, quick fix to getting your voice to the level you so desire. It doesn't develop naturally because puberty, if you are doing it after puberty's taking its toll and your voice is deep. It's kind of like when your testicles lower down, so does your voice. It's like a horrible, horrible thing that goes on. The more gravity fights, the more your voice changes. But that was probably too much information. But it's all linked. I mean, so voice. So I watched various tutorials on YouTube. I don't really think many helped me. I mean, they did help, but there's ones where they're talking about pitch and falsetto and stuff and trying to break over to a barrier and feminizing your voice and stuff, which I really didn't get. My dyspraxia and my dyslexia makes it difficult for me to understand stuff like that. So what I did was I just naturally tried to increase the pitch of my voice. Like, this is my natural voice just now. This is how I always sound. This isn't a put-on voice. If I try and go deeper, this is probably as deep as I can go. And it is kind of deep, but it kind of hurts my voice, and it's kind of really put on. So, you know, like, yeah. That's me putting on a voice, and my voice used to be way deeper than that. So it's just try and talk naturally with a slightly higher voice than you normally do. Don't overwork it. Don't go like all the way up into falsetto because you'll sound like Miss Piggy for a start. And, well, if you sound like Miss Piggy, no one's going to take you seriously. And you might attract frogs, and you don't want to attract frogs because nobody wants to have sex with a frog. Even if it is Kermie. You don't want to talk like that. No one, people will laugh at you and stuff. You want to go just a little bit higher. So just now my actual voice is like this. So if I was wanting to raise my voice to be a little bit higher, I'd probably use my cutesy voice and try and develop my cutesy voice, and this would eventually become my real voice, which I don't really think anybody would take me seriously if I spoke like this, because I don't know, I just sound a little bit too cutesy, and it sounds like I put on voice, even though it's just a level up from what I would have been going on to. But yeah, so I see normal voice, this is where it actually is. Like, you'll hear people will say, you know, you get assholes who have transitioned before puberty, lucky, and they'll say shit like, oh, well, you're always just putting on a voice, so, like, if you hurt yourself and you have to shout, you're going to shout like a guy. It's like, no, that's really not the case, you really don't know anything. I mean, sure, it's nice if you had your hormones early and your puberty's been blocked, but you don't have to make other people feel shit who didn't get the chance. Like, honestly, I hurt myself a lot. I walk into things, I stub my toe, and I never sound like a man when I shout. It's always, like, my normal voice. But yeah, so, higher pitch, just a slightly higher pitch than what you are, and gradually it'll build up. Eventually you'll start talking in that higher pitch. It helps if you try and think in a higher pitch in your head, because if your head voice is what you're used to hearing, then your mouth voice will eventually match it. That's an old trick that I learned in acting. If you want to develop an accent or whatever, try and think in the accent. Now, a lot of people ask things like, will I be able to sing inside the voice? Now, you'll be able to sing inside your new voice. It's a case of finding your singing voice, though. A lot of people say, will I be able to sing like I normally do? You know, people haven't started voice tutorials and stuff, well, voice training. And they'll say, will I be able to sing like I normally do? I normally got quite a deep voice, but I do metal. Sadly, I don't think it's the case, because you'd be really straining yourself, because you're forcing yourself to go back down to that level and sustain it on a musical level. Like, I can sing in my voice just now. It doesn't sound very good, but if you want an example of something sung, like, you can sing inside your new voice, like, love of mine, someday you will die, but I'll be close behind. It sounds horrible, but you can keep a tune inside your new voice. It works, which is really cool. It works just like a regular voice, because as I say, it replaces your voice. You've just got to keep it a slightly higher pitch and just build it up. Don't strain it too much. Make sure the first times you're doing it, you've got lots to drink. You need to keep those vocal cords hydrated, otherwise you're going to damage them. Another tip is chew gum, because it keeps saliva flowing in your mouth, keeping your vocal cords lubricated, which helps with voice work. You know, even in acting, you're told if you're going to try and sustain an accent, you have to keep practicing with water and just keep the vocal cords hydrated. Otherwise, you could end up with a nasty accident and not be able to talk for weeks. What fun is that? But yeah, no, as I say, it just replaces your voice. So singing is also a good one, as I sort of touched on. If you practice singing in songs that are higher pitched, it doesn't even have to be female, singers or feminine singers. Like, Owl City was a good one for me. Owl City and even Death Cab for Cutie, I'll Follow You Into the Dark, a good one. And they're both, guy singers, as far as I know. If obviously they've come out as whatever, you comment and tell me, because I don't want to get anybody's pronouns and stuff wrong. I don't like to try and assume anything. But yeah, singing really helps. I also, this is kind of a guilty pleasure here, but I also kind of listen to what are they called again? I've completely forgotten, blanked. You're about to get a dirty little secret about Amy here. Who are they? Aqua. Aqua are really good to sing along to. Not the guy who's like, "Come on, Bobby, let's go party," because he's got a really deep voice. But the girl, I don't know her name, but she's really up high to try and stick along to that. You could damage your voice though, so it's more of a advanced thing to try and sing along to. But yeah, so I blabbered on a bit. So a quick sort of rundown points or whatever. Make sure you have plenty of water or chewing gum. Baby steps. So keep your voice just slightly higher than what you normally would, and gradually it'll stay that way, and you just keep building it up and building it up. That's what I did. It took about 3 years to get it like this, and it's gradually getting better. It's still, it's a constant work in progress. It is a work in progress. Don't expect immediate results. As I say, 3 years just now. Try singing songs with singers that are in the higher ranges, and just practice. You're not going to get anything out of it if you don't practice. And the good thing about the baby steps is people are less likely to notice that you're talking different, because it's not like you're doing an extreme falsetto. It's just a slight higher pitch. I mean, with me, people might notice because my voice becomes much softer, because I think I'm at my stage where, this is where I'm going to be. This is what my voice is going to be for the rest of my life. If I eventually want to put an accent on and develop an accent, I might try that. But another tip: practice with friends or supportive family members, or even on the phone. You get those crappy telesales calls or whatever, and talk to them. Funny story: I had to phone about my mobile phone contract that was in my old name. I was talking to them on the phone, and they were like, "I'm sorry, but I need to speak to the person whose contract this belongs to, because you don't sound like a Mr. blah blah." And I'm like, "No, actually it's me," and I had to explain my whole transgender story to them, and then they were like, "Oh, well, you're very convincing," which I guess is good. It's like a tester. If people can't, like, especially on a phone where somebody's got nothing else to go by other than your voice. The phone's a pretty good Of course, you could always be somebody who plays your voice back and listens to it for progress. I tried to do that, but it didn't really work for me. But then again, I've got a whole running with my YouTube videos, so I could go back to the first video and I won't sound anything like this because my voice will sound really put on in the first one. Like, honestly, if you go back to that shit, you'll see I'm putting on a voice. And you can just tell. Because I was trying to go too high for starting to build up baby steps. As I say, anyway, I've rambled, so you wanted a voice tutorial, this is kind of what I could came up with. So, I hope it helps in some way. I'm running out of memory, jeez. One more thing, before the video ends. No, I forgot to mention. So, when you want to talk in a feminine manner, you're talking from your face and your head. You're not talking from your chest. My chest barely vibrates when I talk because I've developed it. Now, your chest will vibrate a lot when you talk to start with. You'll feel all the vibrations down there. I only feel a slight tremor down there because I'm talking from mostly up here. It's like there. And something else, another quick trick, I don't know if it helped me, but I used to do it a lot, is if you're trying to feminize your voice, what you're actually trying to physically do yourself, you're trying to train your body to squeeze your vocal cords, your vocal folds, or whatever you call them. I'm sure it's vocal cords or vocal folds. And you can actually do this, if you squeeze where your Adam apple is, and it should actually make your voice different to start with. I mean, it sounds more nasally now because I'm cutting off some of the air supply. But it sort of raises your voice a little bit as well because you're squeezing them together. I sound a lot more masculine like this because I don't know how to feminize it when it's like this. But you get the picture. It's just a case of, I find squeezing it helps. I mean, early on. Now it sounds awful because I've already got the voice where I want it to be. And it sounds really weird. Anyway, about to run out of memory again. After deleting 70 pictures, apparently I only freed up 3 minutes worth of video. So yeah, speak from your neck/mouth. Don't speak from your chest because that's where masculine voices and deep voices come from, and more feminine voices come from up here. It's difficult and it's hard to put into how you get it like that. It's just over time it changes. Think of it like a really, really, really slow elevator that you hate. Like the ones in Mass Effect that take forever to get to the top floor. Anyway, I'm going to have to go. I've got 58 seconds and I want to get this video sorted out and out to you because you have waited so long for this video and I am very sorry and I'm glad I'm finally able to do it. But yeah, remember it's not a race. Slow and steady, and you'll eventually get a voice that you can work with and live with, and people aren't gonna like assume that you're some sort of act. They're gonna think, oh, okay, that's just a girl there. That's cool. So yeah, until next time, Trans Girl Amy out.